and welcome to the AEW Dynamite preview. We are the Dadley Boyz of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hanflo, Michael Sidgwick, here to look ahead to tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a mega quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hanflo and Sidgwick to look ahead to tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. Although, full disclosure, if you're thinking, oh, they're wearing the same clothes they were for the Raw review yesterday, we are recording it a day in advance because of the wacky week that we're having, because, of course, we are one. Lots of celebrations going on. Celebrate 1 year on the WhatCulture Wrestling podcast YouTube channel. But Sidge, yes, is the go-home show tonight ahead of Full Gear.
It is. This lineup looks really, really strong. I've been in a grump with AEW of late. The highest of highs are Allin. I think they've botched it, frankly.
The highest of lows are All Out.
Yeah, and now they've botched it. Now I think they've botched it. I don't like a lot of what they're doing. This is familiar terrain. I will not dwell on it because this show looks good. I think what annoys me, I'm going to have a 1 minute rant. What annoys me about the state of AEW right now is that for the first time since 2012, when that Suzuki Tanahashi match happens and New Japan becomes the thing, and then they have competition with like everything. Mm-hmm. Like people loved Progress for a while. People loved PWG. Like Ring of Honor got hot as well, you know? And then a lot of that converged, NXT UK, AEW, whatever. This is the first time, and I know people might say CMLL, and, you know, I can't really argue because I don't watch enough of it, but this is the first time in 12 years, not including WWE, because that's sports entertainment, and there are people who just like AEW who don't like it, right? The first time in 12 years that there's not a runaway, just out-and-out best promotion on the planet. That's hot, state-of-the-art, that's incredible. And it has to be AEW. They've gobbled up every single USP for themselves as part of this buffet. They've hoarded an absolutely ridiculous extravagance of talent.
Mike Bailey might be in the Continental Classic.
Indeed, you know, if there was another great promotion that was just out-and-out great, people are talking about it, it's cutting edge, it's doing something either brand new or it's perfecting something timeless. There isn't, and AEW's got all the resources, all the talent. They've got no excuse. It's just, it should be them. It should be them, and it's really, really starting to piss me off that it isn't, because it's nobody else. I think a lot of people, this 1 minute rant's going 2 minutes, this lineup does look very good. I don't think a lot of people get just how bleak the times wrestling-wise that we're living in are, because you get some great matches every week, okay? There used to be scenes like across like borders and even oceans in the late 2010s. Like everything just seemed to catch fire at once. It was genuinely a great time to be a wrestling fan. Those days are dead. There's nothing really going on in the UK. There's some respectable promotions out there doing some good stuff, but nothing that's anywhere like approaching zeitgeist. The American Indies, dead. TNA had been dead for years, but now it's zombie TNA. Ring of Honor, it's just AEW developmental. There's nothing really happening in Europe as far as I can tell. Japan, I think, you know, all Japan, you hear, our Stardom was doing great, and then that kind of fell apart a bit. And then for a while, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 now, the Dragon Cade comeback's happening. I don't really hear anything about that anymore. People were putting over All Japan. Davey Boy Smith Jr. is your champion. I mean, it needs to be AEW. A show like tonight might paper over the old cracks because it looks excellent, but that's why I'm in the mood. But the mood will lift because genuinely there's some stuff on this show where atmosphere dependent, and increasingly the atmosphere needs to be there. Otherwise, even good stuff can feel bleak. Atmosphere dependent, this show on paper looks like the very best Dynamite in an age.
But you're not wrong. I think AEW day oneers have unquestionably become disillusioned in part by the product. I mean, like, earlier on this week, as part of our celebrations, we watched some of our favourite Full Gear matches over the years, and there were bits you could point to and be like, oh, I it's like that, and or just whether it just be not matches. Obviously, the match quality is never under debate, really.
Increasingly, it is.
But the I don't know, the aura possibly might be the right term around it. Having said that, Michael Hamflett, I finally got around to watching the November Rain thing that they've made for socials promoting Full Gear. And that really lit a fire under me. That's AEW for me. It brought it all together. It got me really excited for Saturday.
Well, I loved it too. And I think it's 20 years of terrible WWE that made me like my wrestling packaged and my turds polished. And I think
polished a turd.
That's a fair reflection of, but I like a polished turd in wrestling because I can be fooled into thinking it's not a turd by how good the polish is, and the polish was exceptional. I don't like November Rain as a song.
Do you not?
Nah, nor do I have nostalgia for the ECW version of the video with Taz and Sabu, truthfully. But I love that. Like, I just
November Rain.
don't like it. Like,
what's wrong with it? It's a bit much.
Yeah, I don't like Guns N' Roses, and I find like that's
not even Appetite when they're proper sleazy.
That's the peak of their pomposity, and that's like I just don't like them. Full stop. So like the sleazy side is probably the stuff I would favour, but I'm not into it particularly.
I mean, Appetite's
just never mind. No, because like
more of an Adam Rose than an Axl Rose guy.
I think neither, but yeah, so I guess
Mandy Rose.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Yes. Axl Rotten.
Good.
But still more than Guns N' Roses. Yeah, so I don't really like the song, but I love the video package. It did what a really great wrestling video package should do. And again, it was why it wasn't the stupidest thing to just invest in some of the best production you could get in 02 to 2022 inclusive, because they were masters of polishing turds. There are, to this day, videos that you see attached to tweets or whatever, just being like, oh, what a time this was. And it was terrible. I lived through it like all the time. But the video package is a video package. It cuts out the fat of a program, part of which is episodic wrestling television's fault. You know, we have not been high, particularly on Orange Cassidy's promos, but the video package was a reminder of why WWE used to insist on the wrestlers getting in those big lines, because if you lift them out of the context that they're born in and put them into something like that, they're kind of amazing, and they serve as the sort of the narration without needing an official narrator. Every single fooed that video profiled, pretty much the whole card, had that narration with the only interesting sound bites from several fairly moribund weeks of television, set to clips, set to sort of a sense of it. What it did was it very neatly ordered, ironically enough, the disorder that AEW is not doing a particularly great job of telling you on television, and made it feel real. It made it feel like, I'll use this example all the time, wrestling's job every week and every month is to tell you that destination in the future is the end of the world.
That's what it felt like watching
Miss it, and you've missed the end of the world, and then at the very end, good news, guys, the end of the world's Wednesday, the end of the world's Monday, or whatever. That's wrestling's job forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And this is the first time in a while AEW did that. Now,
it felt like he's the last, Orange Cassidy's the last stand against John Moxley, just taking over, running AEW, and the hope of the next generation's gone. It felt like,
and there's a good
Daniel Garcia is going to win a title, Mercedes might lose hers, Swerve is battling, but he's going to be valiantly losing against the Hurt Syndicate. I really liked it.
What you want is a video package that ideally sort of, because I can't make those things, and there's like loads of really talented editors now.
Yeah.
People make their own video packages and they just look really cool, whether it be of like matches or wrestlers or whatever. But especially when it was just companies that could do this and it wasn't anyone in their bedroom with free software. Like, you almost want those video packages to sort of validate your experience. The David Sahadi productions of like 1998 spring to mind. There's an Over the Edge intro one that people remember fondly, and it's about Vince McMahon exerting control over Steve Austin. That was an incredible video, but it reflected your weekly enjoyment of the storyline as well. It was like, oh my, the CM Punk, do I have your attention now? At the start of Money in the Bank. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, but it's also because the television was amazing, right? So like the two things are supposed to be in lockstep. What WWE kind of mastered was pretending that they were, and that's a little bit, and I think that's where the cynicism comes in. It's like, yes, 8 incredible minutes. It's also quite a bombastic choice to pay the big money. You know that has cost money, so that feels big time. It creates this aura around something of which, when you're watching week to week, isn't really there. Yeah. So it's selling you a bit of a lie, but wrestling does that sometimes and then occasionally gets away with it. And AEW on pay-per-view tends to deliver more than it doesn't. So if you're going to do a bit of a wrestling cynical lie, at least do it to your sort of safest destination, a hot house and a bunch of matches that deliver on the night.
What do you think of it?
I just didn't want to get worked by it, ultimately. Like, I remember...
You are submitting to it.
You're submitting to it. Incredibly well done. Like, too good, if anything. Because, like, well, I miss that feeling. You've conjured it. It just felt like, I mean, yeah, you got the nice video, but you can't do videos. Well, you probably can't do videos every month. That's what WWE did for 20 years, as my esteemed colleague has just said. I remember the feeling of watching it last week more than the riff to November Rain, you know, that solo. Like, it was just, I was like, I'm just bored. There's just no life to it at all. So, yeah. Grim.
It is.
But this card looks genuinely good, atmosphere depending.
It's annoying doing this a day in advance because we might have already developments on this by the time this podcast goes out. With regards to Swerve Strickland, I had a little bit of a panic last night when he tweeted, I'm not a doctor, but there was an X-ray and he was talking about beatdowns, and I suddenly thought, oh God, are we losing the Swerve Strickland Bobby Lashley match? Because I'm really looking forward to that on Saturday.
I completely missed this. What's going on?
Shoulder X-ray.
I'll show you a picture of it. Yeah,
I don't know nothing about nothing, but it's the bones aren't joined, and you think, is that what a separated shoulder looks like? Because they like,
that these Hurt Syndicate's beatings take a toll, and then that, and then I'm like, well, what does that mean?
no follow up.
Look, when you want to beat
what your bones are
someone,
meant to look like.
when you want to beat someone, but you don't really want to beat them that much, but you have to beat them, and you have to beat them in a way that isn't just a DQ or something rotten. You injure your babyface. It's a wrestling staple. I don't know what that is. I do know that wrestlers work with torn labrums constantly. I think Kenny Omega had one for 5 years before he added it to his 8 surgeries or however many he had. MJF worked with a torn labrum throughout the majority of that really long and, divisive, but he put the graft in the ring, title reign. I don't know. I reckon if it was a serious injury ruling him out of the pape, we probably would have heard about it. It's probably just a babyface. Giving him a little bit of an out. We'll see.
One of 9 matches right now announced for Full Gear, one of which is, of course, the 0-hour match that we'll get to.
Is Perry Garcia added?
That's on there right now, or at least on the Wikipedia page. Yeah. Lots of title matches. Swerve Bobby, Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher as well. Jay White, Hangman Page, and of course MJF, Roderick Strong.
I mean, it's not going to happen. He'll add about 5 to the 0 hour, as he always does, and that's one of AEW's problems. More is more, and increasingly it isn't.
Sorry, I just popped into my head because we were talking about it in the office just before we came up here. The Brian Alvarez report about them potentially moving Dynamites to smaller venues. Yes. Only a good thing, this.
Yeah, of course. It's like you want atmosphere more than anything else. Like, we talked last week that there was matches, like there was an absolutely scintillating exchange in that opening tag. You can add an extra three quarters of a star onto most AEW matches these days because the atmosphere doesn't exist. If they can, production-wise, get it right so they get a smaller venue, but it looks like a throng of people losing their minds, being loud, being densely packed in. You can hear the echoes. You can hear the silence. It's like the 433 of professional wrestling, AEW television shows right now. That's a great move. That is a great move. Just on the 8 to 9 match card as well. I said a few months ago, or about 3 or 4 pay-per-views ago, it's a great pay-per-view, this. This is going to do them no favors. You cannot do monthly 4 hours. If they can just insidiously, I know maybe the max thing will help where you don't feel screwed out of your money. And I always caveat this. I'm 39 years old. We're all in our 30s.
All in our 30s, yeah.
I'm a 39-year-old Brit watching it on the wrong time schedule. But, there's too much AEW product. Keep it to 8 matches, please, and then maybe just do 3.5 hours. I'd honestly like to think that people would like the absolute all-killer, no-filler version of Full Gear, and if it ends half an hour earlier than, I don't know, Wrestle Dream did, is that the last one?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Then people will just say, "All right, I didn't really miss that half an hour because there was no downtimes," and then he can just gently, maybe even do a 3-hour, 12-monther,
Yes. Yeah,
maybe do Double or Nothing 4, because people have said every time WrestleMania happens, right? Every time WrestleMania happens, the same conversation happens, and it'll happen again. AEW could do with the WrestleMania. Like, it really could do with the WrestleMania. Like, destination-wise, it's a great booking mechanism, as well as this incredibly lucrative mega show that can draw in the casuals. But the problem is they've got 12 WrestleMania-length shows now. And so you can't do that. You should have some discipline.
Yeah, not going to be 12 WrestleManias because they're like, well, you got to watch Double or Nothing. Well, you got to watch Full Gear, All In. Obviously, they're doing big things.
It's All In, isn't it? With it being stadium 4 years on the spin, like Dallas, but it's going to be Wembley again. So it's all they're telling you it's All In at this point, aren't they? But I know what you're saying, because it doesn't necessarily feel like that yet,
especially with All Out so close behind it. You wouldn't do Backlash 2 weeks after.
3-hour pay-per-views and then do the 4-hour All In.
Yeah.
Like, it's, we've talked for years about like what even counts as premium content anymore, because content, it's a contradiction in terms, isn't it?
Yeah.
Content isn't really premium, apart from the WhatCulture Wrestling podcast. And they entered their content era, their super service era, and it's like more money, and it's realistically Rampage and Collision have probably gone a long way to securing the company's financial future at the expense of everything else, really. But like, I remember last year when this, like, as good as sold out Wembley, and I remember thinking the parallels are too real here. SummerSlam 92, Raw's in the Manhattan Center in January. This is going to happen to AEW.
Happening. It
turns out it should have happened, and it's going to follow All in 2024 instead. But like, it wasn't the worst thing for, like, they launched Raw in WWE's historically in their tiniest building they'd had to run in 10 years, and it sort of became iconic because of that. And it did. You remember that as a kid, Sid? It felt like a hot ticket, didn't it?
Yeah,
you wished
it wasn't.
It wasn't for some of those early Raw moments.
Different and lurid.
It looked like a place you wanted to be. It like instantly, to the point where it pissed me off because we couldn't get Raw of it, became the destination where like some of the big stuff happened. Like, Dynamite needs to feel like that again. To an extent, it's turd polishing. We just talked about it with November Rain. Like, but you can ignore and you can forget why they're in a smaller building if it just so happens that this product is entertaining you. You will quickly forget. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a bit of a production snob. I don't want to see like earlier Ring of Honor was like, wasn't really lit like a wrestling show. So you would see the innards of a high school gym. You see it on some 94 Raws. Like, I don't like sort of just seeing like a high school like retired jersey hanging on the wall or a basketball hoop or things like that. I get that TV wrestling has a certain expectation. Yeah. But AEW's got the budget and can make, like, I thought the Arlington Collision taping was almost bob on. It did look a bit small at certain angles.
I wish they had like bleachers.
Yes. If you can find the venues that open that out slightly, you've probably got it, and the heat in the building would work wonders. These wrestlers, like, I don't want to speak for any of the wrestlers. They'll probably get bang into it really quickly if they're getting hot matches again instead of looking to one empty side. That acclaim,
like a cavern.
Yeah.
An empty cavern when they're doing their appeals and stuff. It's got to have an effect.
Max Caster's Collision rap did the rounds of it, didn't it?
Because him, by the way.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
He got political, didn't he? And so it did the rounds on Twitter before it made it to Collision. And it was just this, like, I never really care about when the grifter accounts post the images of the one side. Who cares? But like the video footage of Max Caster cutting the rap, it was to the empty building. It was like, it looked, when you saw it on Collision, because he did the line. He was a Kamala Harris line, and then he did a second line. I wanted to actually hear what that was, because in the Twitter video, people were just going, whatever the reaction was. It's wrestling fans. Like, you couldn't hear the second bit, and he was making a bit like a crack. I wanted to hear about Jay the Snake managing like his new stable, and I was like, I kind of want to hear what that line is. So I watched Collision to see that rap and see this dissension, and the wrestlers and the production do a very good job of hiding the reality, but the reality was awful. Yeah. Like, they have to stand on that post and do the, like, so, scissor me, daddy ass, and all, and it's like me looking at this studio wall, like, you can't see on this camera, so for all I know, there could be like a baying crowd there. There's not, there's some foam, and that's what they're looking at, is the foam on those comfy chairs. It can't be good for your morale.
No.
Like, vibes are so important. Like, I'd rather watch a Matt Hardy match in AEW in 2021 than some of the better fare where the wrestlers are actually capable of moving in 2024.
But tonight,
Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage was quite good, I remember.
Yeah. All pros.
Yep.
Rolling back the years.
They got a hot reaction.
Yeah. Lots of great matches, though, to look forward to tonight, Sidge. Let's start with the number one contender, Orange Cassidy. He's facing Wheeler Yuta. Can he pull the trigger, in the words of John Moxley?
He'll probably... you know what? You should kill him. You should. You know what? I don't want to see too much melodrama because, look, realistically, I know it's a thing and people might care about the law of Wheeler Yuta and best friends. There'll be some absolutely fantastic counters to the seatbelt, which was imparted from Chuck Taylor to Wheeler Yuta, and obviously Cassidy has used it as well on occasion. That'd be great. I don't want to see too much melodramatic. Can I do it? And then he does something at the end. Maybe a little bit of that at the start. Maybe you can cut to Moxley ringside, because he does a really great smoke face, Moxley. The face telling the story of, he can't do it. He's everything I said he was, sadly for me. But he kept saying he was cold-blooded. On another brilliant Moxley Collision promo, by the way. It's like another great sort of like imagistic, sort of just this great imagery that he conjures in these promos. This Collision one was fantastic. It would be so much better if it was hot. It's not hot. What if OC just kills him? Because Wheeler Yuta, like, no one really cares about the relationship between Orange Cassidy or Wheeler Yuta, at least now. Tell the story of Orange Cassidy is walking into Newark, New Jersey, wanting John Moxley's head on a stick. He can do that, and part of that is bloodying up Yuta. Be a bit of a prick. Be a bit of a prick in that match. Bust him open and just get the blood on Moxley's
No lazy
face.
kicks. No lazy
kicks at all.
I got the spot for you. So you mentioned obviously Wheeler Yuta used to being best friends, and Orange Cassidy said, John Moxley, what you did to my best friend Chuck Taylor. He puts his neck in the chair, and Orange Cassidy actually does it to Wheeler Yuta. Moxley doesn't save him because he doesn't like Yuta anyway. He's like, he's a sacrificial lamb for me tonight. He can go on the shelf. You got Yuta in a neck brace for a few weeks, looking even more pathetic and weak when he's back amongst the
beard as well.
And Cassidy thinks he's like been able to find Moxley's dark level by breaking the neck in the chair like what they did to Chuck Taylor, but in actuality he's kind of revealed that he's too weak because he's kind of sunk into his level, and that's ultimately his undoing. On the night he's like
emotion,
emotion and
because it's just not a move.
But he kind of, that's his way to prove that he's where Moxley is. But in actuality it's like, you should have stayed a good person. That's been your key mistake. Or they'll just do a non-finish because they do this. And it's like Death Riders thing where they run in and stop a pin at 2 or whatever.
Speaking of getting killed, I'm surprised Darby Allin is in action this week, considering what Claudio did to him last week into the, what's it called, garage door or whatever it is. But it is Darby versus Claudio tonight. I think Claudio's been great in the Death Riders. Yeah,
he's one of I think he's my favourite presence in it. He feels like the Claudio you should be scared of and intimidated by, and who's got these incredible physical gifts and this attitude that he just wants to wield them. He's been great. That setup last week was great. This has got the ceiling to be great. Again, atmosphere depending. If this is playing out in front of a set of fans who couldn't care less, then it's going to be grim, as like no matter how good the action is. People love Darby. People love Darby looking like he's in great, great peril. Against Claudio, there are a few others that I want to see 10 versions of that ridiculous backbreaker combo that he busted out 2 weeks ago. This has got such a high ceiling. Such a high ceiling. This could be great. So much so that, like, are there any stip matches at Full Gear?
Not that I'm aware of.
Maybe there's a little bit of something here, like, because he's done so much on TV recently, like Jericho and fortnightly ladder matches, you know? Maybe you need to stop doing so much of that crap so often that it can actually mean something again when you do it. But I am thinking they could step up the rematch. I am awaiting that onslaught of just additional extraneous matches because it's an AEW pay-per-view and that's what happens. I'm surprised this didn't make it, so much so that I imagine it'll get stepped up in a rematch. This could be genuinely incredible if it's done right. This is one of those where you see this match graphic 18 months ago, which is even past the peak, but you look at this and you're thinking, can't miss. This is going to be fantastic. Again, these atmospheres are so flat. The vibe surrounding AEW is so almost toxic. I don't know if it was verified, but apparently Tony Khan got booed. He's pulling 2,000 to Chicago. I mean, it's bleak, man. It is bleak, and people need to get their head out of the sand and realize that it's bleak. This match graphic drops past the peak 18 months ago, and people are doing cartwheels. Now it's entirely dependent on how much this crowd cares.
Could they open with this? Darby gets the win, the first sort of mark really on the Death Riders, and then later on in the show, they take, like, in a very, very violent fashion, I don't know, hit him with a van or something, like, take him out.
I mean, it probably would nowadays.
Don't say that in front of me after this week.
But that would have been the good one, but it's too late. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like a really, really ultra-violent attack. You write Darby out at the pay-per-view at the weekend, so we can't be there to help Orange Cassidy. And then partly what we just talked about, Orange Cassidy's violence, so every enact on Wheeler Utah is part of, right, well, you're going to take one of mine, I'm going to take one of yours. Like, that's the main event, let's say. Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Utah goes on last. It's the last thing you see before the paper, all that kind of stuff. But Darby's, like, just not a factor on, not a factor when it comes to Saturday, because, like, they brought him back sooner than we all thought anyway.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's not, you're probably right, it's probably a stepped up rematch because it's too optimistic to think the card is as it's going to stay. But wouldn't there be something to Darby Allin not being on that show as a way to almost protect the Darby Allin character? That'd be like 2 pay-per-views in a row where Allen's been there and the guy's lost anyway. Like, they all just watched Danielson lose. They could having to watch Orange Cassidy lose again. It's just like you're just hanging. Like when Sting was up in the rafters.
I was about to say in the rafters, yeah.
When he was waiting to strike on the NWO, like, it was very much like if another person would fall, he'd be like, this is, you could have had me, but you have lost me.
Yeah.
I'll make my own mind up. Darby Allin is fighting for the cause.
Yeah.
And then the cause just gets his ass kicked, and it's like, could have got out here sooner, Darby. Like, it almost protects the integrity of the character for him not to be there, doesn't it? And he's not.
I think it echoes on the November Rain thing, the whole Orange Cassidy, he was too late to save Chuck Taylor, of course.
Yeah. And it's Darby getting hoyed down some steps. Yeah, he'll take an awful bump to sell it. You can buy, you know.
I just tried to flashback. It was Darby, wasn't it? It was just like, take a bump down those stairs outside.
It wasn't even the scariest part for me. It was when, like, they threw him against the side of the building where I'm like, if he's a foot higher, just, yeah.
I had a great phrase the other day, and it made me think of Darby Allin, because it was like, it was on some other podcast I was into. So they say, like,
What?
I know, sorry. It wasn't a wrestling one. It's okay. There's only one wrestling one. It's this one.
On other podcasts, man.
That's it. Oh, yeah, there is other wrestling podcasts. There's Benno and Hamlet's in your house. Go and listen to that one. But other than that,
Let's listen to this one again.
listen to this as well, if anything. Fill your time. I'll get Sid John eventually. I'll find a new Gen sweet spot.
There's actually a podcast that I want to go on, but I just don't really have the time.
Put yourself out there.
I want to go on Ewan Patterson's We Love Dad movies and do Tremors.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
I really want to do that, but it's just the timings have never worked out.
I had a Ghostbusters 2 on that.
I want to do Talk Tour. But offer's not forthcoming just yet.
You want to do it, eh?
I want to do the podcast. Yeah.
The presenter said, climbing Everest is the second hardest thing you can do, because the actual hardest is getting back down. And I never considered, when you're up there. And I just thought Darby Allin, like, sliding down there, just like, way, thinking, in his head thinking, yeah, that's...
Oh, bloody hell, an electric eel. Shockwave.
That's what they do for the debut episode, the BCC. How the Death Riders, how we kept Darby Allin out of helping. We threw him to the top of Mount Everest. And I was like, wait a minute, it's like Hogan in the wall. What's that? And it's Darby Allin sliding
On a
down.
shower attack. Tony Schiavone says, isn't it? They're on the shower attack.
But they're doing a show by Everest for some reason. Wait a minute, it's Darby Allin.
So what do you think the finish of this is then? Shenanigans and a stepped up rematch?
Maybe.
Especially if it opens, I think you're right, yeah.
I think they could try and find a way to...
tail show.
They could find a way to just write...
I'm a grown male adult. Grown adult. My, whatever has got nothing to do with it. If Claudio at that side just kills Darby, it's like, oh God, abandon all hope. That'd be pretty cool to watch him
video
come
package,
back.
isn't it?
Yeah. So maybe Claudio just chins him. I'm a grown up. I can deal with my baby faces losing wrestling matches, and this is the promotion for disenchanted millennials, basically.
What's the venue of this particular Dynamite?
We are in Reading, Pennsylvania, I believe, at the Santander Arena.
Over here, it's the advertisements feature Ant and Dec.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to rename the bank Ant and Dec, don't they? Ant and Dick.
Good.
Yeah,
we got there in the end.
I think I need something else for the Yanks. Who the hell is Ant and Dec?
Ant and Dec. Is he one of the Mr. Bean looking guys that presents all your shows?
Yes. So hand.
Yeah.
Santander.
Ass-tander.
Great.
Stand hand stuff arena.
Yeah, we'll do
Ass hand stuff arena, yeah.
I was just thinking you could Cesaro swing him off the building.
Jesus.
You just see Darby. It's like the Baron Corbin thing off the roof.
Like do like the Slash guitar solo, but it's with Darby.
On top of the roof. Off he goes. Kobo whole deal. See you later.
Shout at that.
You mentioned babyfaces losing there. We know, obviously, Maxwell Jacob Friedman in action against Roderick Strong. No doubt watching tonight's show from his lair.
He needs to get out of that lair, man. I think he will because there's no Adam Cole tonight.
But what do we do with Adam Cole now? Is the story now for you about him building himself back up, or
he's in Roddy's corner at the weekend, isn't he? And they have that moment where it's like, is he all right with this?
Yeah, I don't care. Anything Undisputed Era in 2024 is so tragic. When they did the thing last week where Kyle O'Reilly, it's like I like. Can we have?
They were together on. We've had Undisputed Elite.
Yeah.
The
Paragon.
Four of them.
The Paragon. Get rid. Just don't do anything with them ever again.
Aye.
What a curse. We've been through this, haven't we? Like, do they secretly just think, I wish I didn't have to work with you? They probably just like each other and then way nicer people than us.
Yeah.
But like, you've got to think, I just would like to just stand up on my own, not be linked in storylines forever with these people, you know? It's sad. It's absolutely sad. If you going down the line now, back in time, I remember 2021, 2022, there was a feeling when Keith Lee came in and, we'd seen basically Red Dragon and the Undisputed Era before the injuries and all the rest of it. There was a sense of there's too much black and gold on this show. Mm-hmm. Remember that discourse? There's a bit too much black and gold in this AEW.
Yeah. They've gone from mid-south to black and gold Tony.
Yeah,
I remember
black
that.
and gold. There's a lot of black and gold influence on this show with Keith Lee. Yeah, it's just like, how's that going to get any better in 2024?
In kayfabe, as the devil, did Adam Cole wrong Kyle O'Reilly? Because they were mates on screen.
Oh, God, I can't. I think Kyle O'Reilly was injured, like very injured throughout all of this.
So what's his... Have they ever really talked about why he won't just...
Have they even interacted that much?
He made the save... Was he making the save last week with the whole... Because it was like the...
Yeah, they're in it. They're in it together now.
I don't care about the continuity, though, bro.
That's what... Was there any sort of sense... You know when Adam Cole was befriending MJF, and that was when Roddy Strong obviously started doing the Adam, but... Did Kyle O'Reilly have any kind of... I don't think you should be mixing him with it. He was injured,
can't
wasn't
remember.
Because they did that video where they were both injured together, and it was all about how they're on like the long road to recovery at the same time, and like, are we expected to like think about NXT lore with these two and their 2021 figurehead, and then just ignore when they were actually mates on screen in AEW?
No, didn't they do? They did that originally, man, where Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, I can't remember the year even. There's a lot has happened. But I'm sure they either had a match or they were tagging it in a match premised on, well, we weren't friends in NXT, so it's going to take a while for us to get back together. And it probably fell apart. Everything to do with the Undisputed Era in AEW is just falling apart within weeks or months.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain they did a little concession to continuity within WWE of... That's probably the way to do it, of like, let's have a week of do we trust each other really, and then we'll get the gang back together.
So it didn't...
I don't care about any of this at all.
There was no acrimony, is what I'm saying, at our last point, and now there is.
I don't
because
think
he doesn't want to... He doesn't trust that. He's a conglomeration guy, so he doesn't...
I don't care.
Need Adam Cole.
I don't care.
But yeah, so tonight is Adam Cole saying, I'll be in your corner, Roddy, and maybe one last go from MJF getting Don Callis to take another of his opponents out.
Yeah, them trying to take Roddy Strong out and Adam Cole making the save feels about it, doesn't it?
I guess. I
not,
don't care about any of this.
It's not great.
I want it over and done with, and the worst thing is, well, it's not the worst thing that, as we said last week, it gives Adam Cole a chance to get over again. like this nonsense, and it's been nonsense. Like World's End is the destination for it all. God, who could care? Who could care?
Really exciting 8-man tag, though, tonight, involving quite a few people who've got a great load of history together. Obviously, the most important ones being Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher.
So who are the teams again?
Accusations from Kyle, because Kyle's teaming with Konosuke Takeshita, Lance Archer and Brian Cage, all Don Callis people. I think the presumption on Kyle Fletcher's behalf was the fact that this wasn't going to actually be a 4-on-4 match. I think he thought it was kind of going to be, to be honest, it's like a handicap match, to be honest, because I think he thought, Will Ospreay, you got no mates.
I love it so much. Give me the teams.
He does. So Kyle Fletcher, Takeshita, Lance Archer, Brian Cage versus Will Ospreay, Mark Davis, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricochet.
Nice to see Mark Davis back,
Yeah.
genuinely. This is one of those can't fail matches that just exists to give you, oh my God, Ospreay, Fletcher are going absolutely hog wild in there. But just when Ospreay is getting the upper hand, someone comes in. This is the sort of genre of match that was so great when the conglomeration first formed that it sort of just lifted the mood, even though the long-term creative didn't look particularly great. The houses weren't amazing. Like, these problems have persisted within AEW for some time. Conglomeration Trios match going 15 balls to the wall minutes did a lot of great stuff in the spring and summer to sort of just get rid of that stench. This could do the exact same thing, and the action could be even better. I mean, Ospreay's in it. This should be absolutely fantastic. This match. Don't care who wins, but that's fine. It's not. It's to build your investment in the match where you do care who wins. I mean, the heels probably win.
I have a caveat I'd like to add to you. I'm really excited about it, like you say.
They probably sold about 1,700 tickets.
Well, no, I'll say, yeah, I agree. Don't necessarily care who wins, but I will say, do not have Ricochet pin Takeshita in this match.
No, they've already done that. The heels.
Because I feel like that might be a match they hoy on Full Gear.
Mark, if this is any kind of sport, Mark Davis should take this pin.
Yeah.
Like, look, he's not coming in as this returning. I mean, I think people rate Mark Davis. A lot of people, maybe less jaded people, have thought that Aussie Open were the next in line to crack that FTR, Young Bucks bracket of great tag teams, great modern tag teams. So people do love Mark Davis, but let's face it, he's not coming in with loads of momentum. He was barely in AEW properly, for lack of a better word. Before that really bad injury, you've got you could give him a great sequence where he looks awesome in this match. And he often did, Like, I wasn't the biggest Aussie Open guy, but in flashes, they looked brilliant. Give Mark Davis that big near miss, and then he can pin him. And then he can easily just say, coming back from injury, like when footballers come back from injury, a serious one, they usually come off the bench and just little by little build their fitness back up. They should do that in the sports-facing league.
I'd have Kyle Fletcher finish off Mark Davis and pin him. Just to show.
That's a good
draw
story
a line under this.
Yeah.
I don't
because Mark's hesitated in the past when they've come to blows. Kyle Fletcher said, "There's always a place for you here," and he's not full time, not completely, but he's kind of nailed his colours to the mast for the time being, lining up with Ospreay and what have you. And he's like, "You're going to do that, then I'll hidden blade your head off," basically.
And it potentially sets up Davis like looking and thinking, maybe that is the better way, and not necessarily turning Ospreay at the pay-per-view, but down the line, not staying babyface. Either like sort of joining the Don Callis family. Yeah. I can't wait for this. It's too easy is not the word, but there's just too many opportunities for like creativity from a lot of people that are good at it. Do you know one of the spots I want? Just because I can't think of a time they would have done it. I used to love, very underrated tag team in my opinion, for the little time they were together. Maybe a certain wrestler's best role ever. Ricochet and Aleister Black. Loved them two as a team so much. Accidentally inspired because Vince wanted Triple H's faves of the main roster.
Yeah.
Immediately hated them and thought, well,
before WrestleMania,
yeah,
it was bleak.
It was just like tag team it is then. Put them together and they used to do that awesome, Malachi Black's flip, cross-legged, all in one motion thing. And Ricochet was like, I can do that too. Let's do that together. It's an awesome tease. We're not going to do it to you. Ricochet and Ospreay, the normal one where they end up facing each other with the thing.
Yeah, do that
They
together.
both threaten to do a dive onto all four heels. The heels scatter, so they hit the ropes, and they just do it in sync together, and they're both pointing in the same direction. And then, because the heels have then clustered together on the floor, at that point, you've got like one of the, like a Mark Davis just does a standard like dive through the middle of them both and takes all four out. And it's like, see, I'm on your level, guys. But they've done the cool flippy thing.
Yeah.
Still, like Ricochet and Ospreay, in theory, still completely inseparable.
Yeah.
We know they're not. But like, and that's him ready for Takeshita, the whole thing.
Yeah, they should also do a spot where Ospreay's going to do like a sky twister press or whatever. Like Ricochet cannot do anything off the top rope. Bill 2, Lance Archer doing the rope walk, moonsault.
Oh, I like that too.
God, yeah, the sequence of bang, bang, but like every dive better than that. Like, yeah.
Speaking of high flyers, we've got stars of CMLL returning to AEW tonight. They've just said Hechicero, Atlantis Jr., and Mascara Dorada will be in action. What do you think of this CMLL partnership, Sige? Now we've had a few months of it at least.
It just felt like a nice way to get Bryan Danielson as Arena Mexico dream match. Let's face it, they weren't booked strongly. They don't feel like the stars of CMLL. They feel like the guys who just lost some random TV matches. I mean, I'm sorry, that's what they felt like. I know for a fact that these wrestlers are incredible. Hechicero's had 2 match of the year candidates, but they are, I mean, for all intents and purposes, they are guys who lose and they haven't done the parallel, like CMLL is, if you're a sicko, like that really sort of hipster in the weeds wrestling fan, that quite frankly, the insufferable ones that I used to be about 4 or 5 years ago. CMLL is their promotion of choice. But if AEW had somehow come around a couple of, like, 1 or 2 or 3 years earlier, and they had the relationship with New Japan, and it was them 2 outfits operating at their peak, it would have been total dreamland if they had a collaboration. This is not that. The way that the New Japan guys, I think they get a short thrift in New Japan, to be honest. Like, Ishii's an enhancement talent. I hate it, but he is. Suzuki got beat. I know he's a freelancer, but, you know, he's still New Japan tied. They haven't really done a good enough job with New Japan, let alone CMLL, which New Japan, through the logo, through the recent history, has got much chance. And, like, the fact that they drew in the States, much better chance of getting over, and they still didn't really, if you think about it. The CMLL thing's a notch below even that, so it's really hard to get excited about. It's one of on the night you'll get dazzled. Like some of Hechicero's in-ring just completely blows my mind, but it's more them showing you in the course of the match rather than the presentation of the stars and the characters.
Can't help but feel a little bit collision pilled as well. Hechicero, Atlantis Jr., Mascara Dorada will be in action equals premier athletes in my head.
Yeah, probably.
Any chance Death Riders beat him up and setting up a Arena Mexico rematch? Something like that?
Ooh.
Is this to open a door or anything? Are we just watching a business relationship happen in front of us?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
Yeah,
maybe that might have full gear implications.
Some sort of angle, shooting angle with somebody.
Claudio, Pac, and Yuta versus those 3 at full gear. Yeah, that could work. Been here before, and it was fine.
Moving on.
In fact, you know what? I'm being an arsehole. The Arena Mexico main event was incredible. Absolutely incredible. But again, atmosphere dependent. That atmosphere was the best atmosphere of the year, and I might even include Backlash France in that.
AEW Memory Man. Full
Did a
gear.
great job of the Undisputed Era earlier.
No, but generally speaking, Full Gear is in the MJF territory, isn't it? Long Island.
No, it isn't. It's in
Queens?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, excuse me.
He will get very offended if he ever listens to that, and as we know...
I thought...
What is, as you mentioned there, Sige, thank you for that.
And as you know...
One of the only professional wrestling podcasts that's actually worth a
That's maybe alleviated one of my worries there, because I thought it had been in like the same geographical area for the last couple of years, and it's not the hottest venue, is it?
New
But
Jersey's hot.
New Jersey's all right, and that's okay. Yeah, I was just thinking, because that's the sort of stuff where you're like,
New Jersey.
New Jersey,
You make some fucking noise.
louder than that big city up north a little bit.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Over the bridge. Those fat cats in Manhattan.
Yeah, they don't make noise, no. They don't make no noise. We'll show you what noise is. The real hardcores. That's Boston.
Ass hatting, more like.
trying to think of Burrows and doing puns now.
It was always WWE, wasn't it? Like in the shadow of New York City.
Yeah.
Thanks.
The Bronx, more like I don't know. It's a funny way to
like
rhyme
the
with.
losers.
Yeah, like the losers.
But that crowd always brings it. And
Manhattan, Queens, the Bronx. What else is the boroughs?
Brooklyn.
Like
Losers.
Brooklyn losers.
more like Crooklyn, spelled C-U-C-K, like you're a cook. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to spell it out. It doesn't really work.
It's right with our accent.
But the guys always bring the boom going tonight. It's the Costco guys.
Right, I'm glad we got to this.
They boom AJ live tonight.
I do not know anything about them. And I will say one thing. It's on the 0 hour.
Mm-hmm.
The most it's probably even easier to miss out than Battle of the Belts. It's just some matches. Who cares? You're going to see 8 more, maybe more on the main show. If you care about them, AEW shouldn't be doing this. Did it on the second show. Bailey was on it. It's part of the rich history, the prestigious history of AEW's terrible celebrity tie-ins.
We were saying that like Nakazawa should have got more credit than he got for that.
It was a piece of business.
Maybe one of his best nights ever, if in a way.
Well,
the match
in the States, come on.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
It was rubbish, but it was fine. No one cares. There's no soul of AEW anymore, and then it kind of in this some respects like this, it never was. Like they're pretty rubbish with celebs. Silent Bob and Jay and Silent Bob on the first ever Dynamite, not good. Bailey, not good. Shaq was awesome.
Shaq was incredible.
Yawning Mike Tyson.
Yawning Mike Tyson, terrible. The fucking Gooch is here, Mickey Gooch. I honestly thought he was one of the US. I don't really know much about the world of MMA or boxing, really. So when I saw the guy, chest out with like the weird eyeshadow, like trying to look, I thought, God, is he like a really sketchy MMA killer gone wrong of a little bit? He's just some actor trying to look hard.
Henry Cejudo is there. Henry's a multiple belt champion in UFC, one of the most dangerous men on the planet at the time. Out of the way, the Gooch has got to get to the front.
Love Jericho going for his own Tyson and Austin.
Yeah,
Gets upstaged by the Gooch.
Just
Gooch
preposterous.
looked awful.
But yeah,
I hate the Gooch, but I love the Gooch.
we
at
love
the
the
same
Gooch.
time.
I don't mind this. Yeah, maybe.
I will stand up for AEW here because we talked about it on the news this morning as we're recording this. By all accounts, I think it was a Fightful Select report, doing some great work as always. This was never going to make television. It was never going to make Collision, Rampage, or Dynamite. None of this. It was just going to be a fun little... I mean, he's done QT Marshall's done a diss track on social media. It was going to be a fun little social media thing. Like you say, chuck it on 0 hour. It doesn't affect anything. Yeah. But they've done so well at generating a buzz for this and not, not their social media people, obviously, but like getting attention, press coverage on telly. They've said, oh, you know what? Give it a moment on Dynamite. It's not going to be, one would hope, not going to take up too much time.
And I'm glad we got to it because I thought you could explain. I don't know who these people are, what these people do, if they are talented, what they are famous for. All I know is that they have crossed over into my Twitter, and every time I see casuals or people I just follow I see them. They're big, aren't they? They're big.
Oh, they bring the boom. Yeah, every time.
And they're
the thing right now.
That Rizzler.
AEW have got them to, I think, to like somebody's credit or a bit of dumb luck. It's kind of the
He was a worker, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he's got. So
the dad was a wrestler.
The business.
He respects the business.
There was the suggestion that all of this has been set up so that he gets like one more round because he sort of inadvertently did the sideways burial, didn't he? He was like, well, WWE weren't interested.
Yeah.
But he'd said like, oh yeah, I can do this. I used to do this. And then he's got his sad children along, eat your food. And then like, but
that Rizzler's too fat.
Yeah.
I worry for his health.
The sad ones.
That kid is too big.
Yeah. The son, like his voice is going to break in a bit. And then like his dad's going to be like, out of the way, you. We need a new kid.
I mean, we could say that, but we can't say the dad doesn't love them.
Oh no, I'm not saying he doesn't love them. I'm just saying like the kid looks sad on all them videos they do.
That Rizzler, is he related to the boom?
I think they've just found him somewhere.
Just found a little fun fat kid.
Yeah, internet stuff, and it's like, hey, we got this guy off the internet. Little guy in there.
How could he put all that food away, huh? I mean, that's not good, I don't think. I think
there's a lot, I think, that you can watch that and be like, yeah, what are we entertained by here? Because I don't know what we're entertained by.
Yeah, did they just go to Costco and eat the food?
Yes, they are. I'll just read the AJ and Big Justice Wikipedia page here. Andrew AJ Bufumo.
I'm confused. Is Big Justice the small child?
Yes.
He's not the Rizzler.
The Rizzler's the one who...
Rizzler's separate.
The one whose heart I worry about.
Yeah.
They are,
it's not good.
They're known as AJ and Big Justice, the Costco Guys, American social media personalities based in Boca Raton, Florida. Father and son duo, they found popularity on TikTok and YouTube in 2024 for their videos at the warehouse store Costco, which we're more than happy to be sponsored by if anyone from Costco's... I really want a Costco card.
Frozen dumplings you get at Costco are the very best frozen produce I've ever had in my life.
Have you got a Costco card or a link
stuff?
to a Costco card?
Stop the podcast dead in its tracks.
I've got a link.
I see.
Take us there on dinner one day, please.
No, I can't drive.
No,
I've got my car.
Wilbon's got the car. You've got the link. Let's get chicken bakes and double chunk cookies.
The cookies are shoot incredible.
There are so frozen food. You can have like frozen pizza, never good. Well, you can have passable frozen pizza if you know you're approaching it on the terms of frozen pizza, not just a pizza. It's a different thing. You can deep fry oven chips and make them good, but that's not how you're meant to do them. Coffee beans actually do well in the freezer, but there's no I love a frozen tea. It's just the same. It's a compromise. It's a trade-off. These frozen dumplings at Costco are like absolutely incredible. Like the best frozen food I've ever had in my life.
Have you had the pizza at Costco?
No.
It's like £2, and you can do it by the slice. You know how much we love that in America.
Slice.
I got
He's
too
like the
excited there.
Rizzler.
Do it by the slice there, but it's really good value for money. And if you get the whole one, it's massive, basically.
We're recording
need to go.
close to tea time. Yeah, I need
To bring the boom to the WhatCulture office.
But then you see they do videos and there's just more of them. They just multiply and there's like loads of the Costco family or whatever they are, and they're just videos of them just stood there like all doing the same routine and slightly different adjustment to the tune of doing the boom.
Yeah.
It's
Jimmy Fallon bloody loves it, doesn't he?
Eat sweets, kid. Yeah, 3 booms. That's the point.
I told you before, we went to Costco and I was just overwhelmed by it. I got the cookies. I think I brought what was left when I finished
delicious.
into the office. Slice of pizza, and I was like,
hungry.
we need to
I'm
go.
so hungry. I'm trying to be a little bit good with my food of late as well.
My wife's out tonight, so I'm more getting a takeaway. This conversation has made that decision for me.
What's the handful of tea tonight?
We have a very
Bread.
nice.
Let me guess. I'll say
No,
bread.
I'm gonna get a takeaway. I've just decided as this conversation has been taking place, it's already gone in my head. I'm gonna get we have a nice and quite cheap Lebanese takeaway.
Oh,
So I'm gonna get
Wham bam. Thank you, lamb. He once got a Lebanese takeaway delivered at the old office. Put it as we were playing pool, me and Hamflet, and there was like the tables next to it. Just got his loud enough for me to hear it, so he could do the show. Got his big sort of like shawarma.
Yeah, lamb shawarma. That was it. Yeah,
yeah, in the foil. Loud enough so I could hear it. Put all that meat on the desk. And I turned round and he went, "Wham bam, thank you, lamb." He's loving it all over again.
yeah. What's all his name?
I was thinking, who did that? That's good stuff. Oh, it's me.
Tikka chicken shawarma, I think tonight. With spicy fries, and it's like, I mean, they're too spicy, they're too hot, but they're great. You know, they're just
Enchiladas in the Wilborn household tonight.
This one that we use it like this.
This has never happened. You haven't better teas than
They
me.
spicy up the fries like McDonald's do with salt.
Yes.
So they just come like that orange dust. You can't see the fries for the orange dust to top it.
Yeah.
And they're too hot. you have one, it's inadvertently got on your finger, and then like 2 days later you scratch your eye.
No. Basically, I saw a picture of me on Instagram from 2018. So I'm in my 30s, and it's not that, and I've had 2 kids, so I've had the lifestyle. So it's not an unattainable thing.
It's very much a...
Oh my God.
The DILF vibes that emanate from me, and it's only 6 years ago, man.
We're getting out of our Rizzler era any day now. We're getting jacked. Decided this.
No, I am.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
I've got two
Not yet.
football tops I can't wear anymore. They're mediums, but they're like the tight-fitting mediums. It's like, I want to be able to walk around in the spring with them football tops on.
Yeah.
Honestly, I look like such a... I thought I'd peaked at uni, man. I thought I'd peaked at uni. Made my peace with it. I made a comeback in 2018.
Yeah.
Now it's dead. Now it's gone.
It's good though, because the older you get, it's a good message for people. I think the more you realise it's never really over. You can always have that, like you can have that period. Like, oh, class, I've done it. I've cracked it. And then like a couple of years and a few takeaways, or a kid, or a life change ever.
Pandemic.
It all goes wrong again, and then you can fix it again. It's all right. It's just you get to the low, and it's all right because you can always sort of like fix it again, and then you can fix it, and then you can inadvertently kind of break it again, and that's all right. That's like that's okay. I look at myself at the moment, and I just see a fat hog. But like,
Same.
it's different because it's like, well, I wasn't always, and I can do it again eventually if I can be asked. It's just gets harder to be asked.
The ship has sailed?
I don't know. No, it's never sailed.
It's
because
we've just established this.
It's
Yeah.
never ever sailed.
I
We're all in
reckon
our 30s. I'm in my 30s for ages in a way. Like I've got ages of my 30s left to fix it.
When
before.
I was an old fat hog.
I want
We'll laugh about this when I fixed it and I look unbelievable.
Yes.
I remember the fat hog era. Remember our
Tops.
Rizzler run in November before we became class.
Tops off in Vegas.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, probably not.
I just want to.
But I'm not a top south guy. Never have been, never will be. But like,
I think
Trousers off.
but yeah, like
Wearing shorts, just to clarify.
I've made a comeback
trousers off
once.
in Vegas.
I've seen pictures of me from 2015. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you fat bastard. Because France, like my wife was pregnant, and we had like all this, just because we didn't have the kid yet. Obviously, she was pregnant with the first. All this disposable income.
Takeaway City Jones is a wild time.
I
Isn't it?
used to go to a tapas restaurant every single Friday night. Every single Friday night, I would do like 3-course meals because I had so much time to cook on a weekend. I was a fat bastard. And I made the comeback. I made the comeback in 2018. Do you believe in me?
I believe you.
Yeah, 100%.
You acknowledge it. I
I
acknowledge it.
acknowledge you.
2017, I think was. Oh no, 2021 was a post-pandemic comeback. I had a little bit of.
Did you?
Yeah. Like I know I wouldn't.
I'm sorry.
I'll. You piece of trash. In this,
Where did he come back into the office?
2021. I was like, oh, this is all right, and then straight back in the office by Christmas. I was like, where'd that guy gone? Like it was exciting to be back
I
outside.
mean,
again.
I hate myself as well, so I shouldn't buy that.
See, who says that Costco guys don't spark conversation, you see?
That's what they do. They bring the boom to you.
It's because we don't want to be the Rizzler.
Yeah.
I worry about that kid, man. I get paternal with.
Now, what's going to
rage.
happen? What's going to happen is this is going to make them very, very rich very quickly. Then they're
They
going to
already are.
Yeah. Then they're gonna like. Yeah, I'm not saying work for AEW. I mean the TikTok money, the real stuff. Like then they're gonna like be able to like spend all the money on like health and fitness. The Costco boom is gonna die, and it's gonna be like now we're fitness influencers.
Boom diet or something.
Yeah, and it's like this is really unfair. Like now you've just got all the money to do this.
Yeah.
Like Mac in So Was Sunny saying, "Well, I did it by becoming a millionaire."
Yeah.
That's how you change your body, and that's what they're gonna do. Like big. I always want to call him Big Sadness, Big Justice.
Sadness.
It's his eyes, man. Big Sadness is going to be like, "Oh, is this kid?" And now whoa, he's absolutely jacked.
Yeah.
8-pack the whole deal.
Now I'm Big Justice, but in a different way.
Yeah. Rizzler's going to be shortened to just Riz, and he's going to be just out in everything that moves with like abs on top of abs on top
In a
of
few
abs.
years old.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He was 18.
Yeah.
Like-
He's 18.
So, moving swiftly on, see, just looking at this card, and
God.
just realised there's one women's match on this
This is the
card.
most exercise anyone ever does. I shouldn't be,
It's Chris Statlander, who survived vehicular homicide the other week, versus Hikaru Shida.
I will say that this match is interesting because have I already sold my stock in Hikaru Shida? Probably. She wrestles like 5 times in AEW a year.
The word car is in her name.
It is. It sure is. I think I've officially reached the point where, because there's a point where like Hikaru Shida she's always ran hot and cold for me. Sometimes she'll deliver something great in the ring. Other times I think her strikes look pretty tepid. But I think I've finally reached the point where I can't get excited about a Hikaru Shida match. It used to be that I don't think maybe she's been lapped quality wise. Like I think there's at least 5 wrestlers in that women's division who I'd much rather put first. Like about 2 years ago, Shida, get in. It's going to be a good women's match on Dynamite. Now I don't think that exists anymore. Like Statlander's better. Willow Nightingale's better. Tony Storm, Mariah May. I think the list does go on. So I don't know. Stats always good, but you're only as good as your last match, and her last match was a disaster against Camille, who kind of stinks. So, yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. And Shida, I don't know. I never know how good she is, really, and increasingly the last few times I've been leaving less sure.
I think Mercedes is going to try and take her out again.
You think?
And probably succeed slightly more than she has done because, 2 weeks in a row? Beat her up after the car thing and then put her through a wall last week, right?
It's not really a wall, though, is it, mate?
Well, no, yeah.
Mercedes and Shida have a turkey.
They had a good match on Dynamite, and then they had a turkey.
Stinker rematch, didn't they?
It all out.
Yeah.
Little Turkerino.
Turkerino. That's brilliant.
It's all good stuff.
I see Turkerino coming. That feels like one for the viewers and listeners.
Yeah.
Just get it out there on like social medias. Definite Turkerino incoming. What is that, good or bad? What is there a specific move to that? What, you don't listen to WhatCulture?
Yeah.
You're the one left.
I say it all the time now.
Turkerino. Turkerino incoming.
But Sige.
The conditional Turkerino.
I remember shooting conditional coated.
We were talking in the
A lot of
office.
bargaining.
We were in the office talking about it was ahead of WrestleMania 40. I reckon 39 and 40, the two Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns matches, probably conditional double goated if they get the result right at 40. And I think it was looked at Phil. I'm like, oh, sorry, what have we turned into here?
Language used to be one of our tools.
I
Exclusively
remember we just started using goated and I used it in like a family conversation. Like, that's absolutely goated. They were like, what are you talking about?
My wife hates it. The kids say it now, though. That's good.
It was one of those. My
James
wife
goes, goated.
I said one, not thinking it through, and again, it's not. It wasn't even that bad.
Suck my gag. Time to suck my gag. Time to suck my. Time to suck my. Time to suck. Time to suck my. Time to suck my gag. It's all good stuff.
Coming for Christmas. It was IRL, and I hadn't thought anything of it.
Yeah.
But my wife, and God, I'm jealous of her, is just able to be offline enough that she's a real human being, and to her, there is no. You don't need to distinguish.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need to do that all the time because of the stupid world we occupy. Yeah, it was more of an IRL thing. It's just a disgusting, like, you're not young or relevant. Like, IRL. Grow up. I'm like, you're right, darling. Yes,
But Sige, as I mentioned, it's the only women's match on this card, which means we need to get to the name of the game. Before that, we have to get the aim of the game, though.
We have to. It's a law. The aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note for the first entrance theme for the first woman to enter the ring for the only women's match on Dynamite, with the idea being that they kind of took it in a certain suspicious slot on this card, on all the cards, really. And I'm thinking, hang on, AEW, what's going on here? It feels like the fact that there's only one is enough of a red flag. The fact that you kind of put this one women's match in the same spot most weeks, or at least on average, where you think, and you're trying to get away with doing women's wrestling and not really embracing it. Well, we should be putting Willow Nightingale in your friggin' main events, mate, Tony. And I'm thinking, it just feels cynical to me. It feels like you think that you have to get the bloody women on the show. You have to get the birds on the show. Otherwise, the bloody wokes will kick off. You can't not do women's wrestling. God, nah, but women's match. They won't watch it. They won't watch it. I've got to get the bloody birds on. God damn it. It's a mouthful, isn't it? So if you jingleize this, you could jingleize what I perceive to be AEW's cynical thought process. And just when these women's matches tend to happen, there's a pattern. Pretty cynical, if you ask me. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. And that's the aim of the game.
Oh.
The name of the game is...
We bring one match to you.
The old name ski is... wait for my notes to load up here. Some men brawl and some boys wrestle. I think they're okay. They do super indie landfill. I just walk away. They throw forearms and do kicks every Dynamite. That's right. Tony Khan might think it's great, but it's just alright. Because we are living in a cold period, and Tony hates booking the birds. You know that we are in a cold period, and Tony hates booking the birds.
Fantastic. Yeah, again.
Thank you. Cheers.
Shout out.
Can you imagine what this would be like if this was a bits podcast and we weren't getting this
God,
stuff?
don't do bits.
No.
We don't do bits.
Shout out to the Panda Blair himself, Adam Blair at Adam Wilton 4, and Jose Palomares at the Ho 11, who always take care of the
data.
Thank you for this sort of thing. Michael Hamlet getting the win last week, of course. And all he has to do is win every week between now and Christmas to stand any chance of
Maybe
winning.
be like 1 or 2 behind you.
Yeah.
Probably,
Yeah. So, do you want to take it away?
I feel like I won it last week. What was it? The time was like
1:13:45 last week.
Just for fun, the exact same.
Ooh.
Because it feels just as redundant. Was it 1 hour
1:13
and 45?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can win at the same time 2 weeks in the spin.
Oh, imagine,
or if
imagine
they're
you
going
get it Bob on as well.
do that little
And the
trick.
game ends.
Yeah.
We get it right. I was going to say 1 hour 20 for mine. Dead.
Flat?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at this card.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. Some fat guy gonna flash a fly. Sorry. People hate it, but some people love it, so I'll just do it briefly.
I'm in the latter category of that.
Yeah.
Love it.
It looks like Darby Allin does it. There's a lot of stuff to get through, and we're recording this in the past, so maybe some stuff could get added yet more.
Maybe another women's match.
I reckon it's overrun. City Jones 124. Actually, you know what, baby? 125. 56, baby.
It's in the first hour. You're
Oh, yeah.
free. Then you're one step closer. You have to win all the other weeks. But let us know your thoughts ahead of tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. Either in the comments or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, they can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamlet at
Michael Hamlet.
You can follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from, for daily wrestling podcasts. But for now, it's been the Dynamite preview. My thanks to Hamlet Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.